how are you bring it out to God? Alright? How are you hold it? That's why you hold it. Read that for me.
Right, Psalm 50 and 5. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
Those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. Go ahead.
And the heaven shall declare his righteousness, for Yahweh is judge himself.
Yes, no, man. Let's see what we're doing there. Alright, go ahead.
Right? Verse 7 say, Hear, O my people, I will speak. O Israel.
O who?
O Israel.
O who?
O Israel.
O Israel. That is his saints. That is his people. Continue on.
And I will testify against thee. I am Yahweh, even thy power.
Even thy power. He personalized it. Alright, go ahead.
I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings, to have been continually before me.
Alright?
Right.
Come to me, God. Then they will go back to the
book of Exodus chapter.
They will get the next one from us. Go ahead.
Book of Exodus chapter 24, I'll start from verse 5. And he sent young men of the children of Israel and offered burnt offering and sacrificed peace offering of oxen unto the Lord. Verse 6. This is the point. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in a basin, and half of the blood and sprinkled it upon the altar.
What?
And sprinkled it upon the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people. And they said, all that the Lord had said, we will do. And we will be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it upon the people.
Right?
And somebody can come back, somebody can go to fight first. That is expedient for one man to die for nation.
I want here.
That one is that.
Alright, so bring it on. That is
I'm really talking about our Shai's blood was only shed for the nation and Israel period.
John 11, start from verse 47. Hold up, you know. The other one from Manatasa, John 11, 47. Start from verse 47.
John 11, 47. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, What do we? For this man doeth many miracles.
You gotta get the part where he said his blood be upon us.
Yeah, that's going down.
If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. And one of them named Caiaphas, being the high priest, that same as said unto them, Ye know nothing at all.
Tell them you already know nothing at all, right? Right?
Don't consider.
Well,
but he was talking through the Spirit of the Lord. I but he say you know nothing at all. We prophesy that he came here.
Don't consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not.
And that the whole, why didn't say that the whole world perish not?
Well, the whole, as in Icomany.
Right? Why didn't it say that? That the whole world perish not? Because they say, because they will, let me show you about Shai, don't contradict yourself. Study to show yourself approved. Alright? Go back to the original languages to get the understanding. Meaning, can. Alright? Go ahead.
And this spake he not of himself.
He didn't speak this of himself. So like I call the scripture again. John 11, 47. Right? He didn't speak that of himself. Go ahead.
And this spake he not of himself.
Right?
But being high priest that year, he prophesied.
What?
He prophesied.
What?
He prophesied.
He prophesied. Get that in your mind. He prophesied. He was filled with the Spirit and he prophesied.
Can.
What?
That Yahweh should die for that nation.
For that what?
For that nation.
And spell that word of slap, yeah? Spell that word nation for me.
N-A-T-I-O-N.
Well, with yes.
That's already. That.
Right in your New Testament.
For that nation, yeah, correct. That. For that nation. We can say for every nation. Alright? Go ahead.
And not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one of the children of power.
Don't let us try. You'll meet that Christian and you'll try to get smart. So this is scripture. Not only for that nation, let's see how deep we go.
Read that one slower.
And not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of power that was scattered abroad.
So what? Who did they expose? They exposed that the Israelites living on the outside.
The diaspora. And that's first, right? That's first, right?
Yeah.
That way, our shy say in a while, you'll see no more. So you see, where will he go?
When he go to the dispersed, that is amongst the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles. You understand me coming from our practice, huh?
Yeah.
This is the reason why I'm glad you know you're here and you're seeing the truth for what the truth is. You understand? Because a lot of our people, yeah, the real stupid guy. And we have to say all praise to Yahweh Basham, Yahweh Shai, that he even gives to us our teachers, the apostles and the elders of great millstone. Because had it not been for these men to don't ever compromise the truth at all, proper smoke with pipe, man. You understand? Like is the other up? Like, alright, so now you come back to it and then you will come back to the Ephesians 1:1, then go to the Ephesians 2:1. Alright?
You wanna get bring out the next scripture?
Yeah, and then continue the saints.
Right, this is book of Psalm chapter 148 and verse 13.
What?
It says, let them praise the name of Yahweh, for his name alone is excellent. His glory is above the earth and heaven. He also exalted the horn of his people. The horn of his people.
Which goes back to Luke 1:68. Go ahead.
The praise of all his saints.
Who is he saints?
Israelites. Yeah, even the children of Israel.
Even the children of Israel. That's who he saints are.
Are people near unto him.
A what?
Are people near unto him. Praise ye Yahweh.
Praise ye Yahweh. So now, go to Psalm 149.
Psalm 149 and verse 5.
No, start from the top.
Start from the top. Right, Psalm 149 1. Praise ye Yahweh. Sing unto Yahweh a new song. And his praise in the congregation of saints.
And his praise in the congregation of saints. Now we find out who is the saints. Go ahead.
Let Israel rejoice in him.
Let who?
Let Israel rejoice in him.
Where is the whole blasted word there? Let Israel rejoice in him. Go ahead.
That made him.
That what?
That made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king.
Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. If you're jumping in, you want to waste too much time. Go back to the Ephesians 1:1.
Book of Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
Paul, an apostle of Yahweh Shai, by the will of Yahweh, to the saints which are at Ephesus.
To the saints which are at Ephesus. Alright, which is what at Grecian city. Alright, I don't want to go back into that whole history. Alright. But go and study the Hellenistic period. Alright? Go and study where Jews, alright, which is the southern kingdom, was under, and some of the northern kingdom who was amongst the southern kingdom, alright? Go and study the Hellenization period of them, alright?
When you go back to the when it said in the back of it, he said, we don't want the law. For in fact, I will leave that to you.
No, boy, you go and say yes.
Let somebody go down.
You don't want that guy 6 and 6.
For him. Let him finish.
Alright? The Hellenization period, you know?
6, yeah. 6
When,
and 6.
right, when they're going to,
You get that.
and when they're going into when you go into Acts 6 and 1 and Acts 9 and I think 24, you know, and Acts 11, where it spoke about the Grecians. When you go into that word Grecian, it speaks about it's specifically showing you is Hellenized Jews.
God, when you look at Hebrews, when the Apostle Paul wrote to them, they scattered, and he talked about the saints. He said the saints in Italy.
Right?
Right, so that show you all that we scattered among these nations. So I even go back to Acts chapter 10 because it was from the word funny, that's from what the Italian man.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So which goes back to the vision, which all this thing here which goes back to the vision concerning Peter, alright? With all the unclean food that he was seeing, alright? It goes back to the same scattered Israelites who been scattered through all these nations and following the ways of these other heathens, because we're going to read it here now. Continue up and let's finish up the first verse and then it will go to the Ephesians 2. What?
And to the faithful in Yahushua.
Unto the what?
And to the faithful in Yahushua.
Unto the faithful in Yahushua. So go to the Ephesians 2 now.
Ephesians chapter 2 and 11.
And I think I give you 1 Corinthians 12 and 1. You get from my go ahead, yes, sir.
Wherefore, remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh.
Right, so select, yeah? 1 Corinthians, what is it? 12 and 1. So, we see in here, from Ephesians 1 and 1, who Paul was speaking to. Alright? So, now, when they go on to chapter 2, keeping in mind who he's speaking to, he let you know, now once you get the understanding of who he's speaking to, now you're getting to see who is the one speaking about being Gentiles in the flesh. Continue on.
Who are called uncircumcision.
Who are what?
Who are called uncircumcision.
Who are called uncircumcision, because I go back to this Acts again, where there was arguing with Paul.
Yeah.
These people we are having them around before, whatnot, so for these people not circumcised, they have to be circumcised and whatnot. But you see, they was being carnal with it. Salakia? You have to circumcise your heart, which is your mind. Because those who was arguing with him, but we circumcise and we circumcise and we circumcise. Yes, you're circumcised, yes, but that's within the flesh. Alright? You're still doing all sorts of unmanner wickedness.
You know, as you talk that on you, you want to know how serious this thing is? The Jews back then was more evil for them. They say we don't want to eat them around, which is not supposed to happen. But it was just one people at Jews back then, they didn't want no uncircumcised Israelites around.
They didn't want to know Israel. They didn't want to know.
But it was carnal.
Can.
Because Yahushua died to bring on that middle wall of protection.
Right? They didn't want it to back you up. They didn't want any Israelite who was not following the law. Because they was back then they was very zealous for the law.
But by the letter, you see, they was still by the letter.
Come on.
Yahushua gave us the spirit.
Come on.
So we sold to the spirit.
Come on. Alright? So now continue on, Yassad.
Who are called uncircumcision, that which is called the circumcision.
By that which is what?
It is called the circumcision.
By that which is called the circumcision. You can show them, hey, you all are showing up Israel, whatnot, so forth, so forth, so forth. But here what is going on? You have to leave off from these heathens that you have been scattered among according to the curses and come back to your house and follow his way.
When we tell those Hispanic country, you know what? Fireball, Edomite, Moabite is not your friend, and you want to have Mike, Edomite friend, and Mike, Edomite friend, you know, if they have to go on salvage, be there, let you know, get away from them.
Done. Right? So now, you have on that? What I said? Well, so when the God comes to you.
In the flesh made by hand, that at that time you will pass without Yahushua, the aliens from the commonwealth of Israel.
Go to that word commonwealth from in the blue letter of Abba. Go to that word commonwealth. Let me see that by if I love this children. You see, once you get the proper understanding of the truth, And you see where the car, it's the line upon line, piece upon piece. That's why everybody speed relief.
And that's why everybody can see this. The Lord say blinded people up to this thing. Just can't understand.
Man, go to the whole Commonwealth and watch it. Then we get the true meaning of the word Commonwealth.
The strong sheep 4171.
What?
For the say,
Uh-huh.
right, they say the administration of civil matters, a state or commonwealth, citizenship.
What?
Citizenship. The rights of a citizen.
The right of a citizen. So remember, they didn't have citizen. They conformed themselves onto something else. Under captivity. Now we can read it back up here, where he said it's not law, it was lawful for us to call themselves Jews or the holy high day.
Man, and the heart, that is when Paul was getting yeah, so when Paul is good,
Hey.
who is having the fun.
Yeah.
Hey, so that's the heart. Citizenship is on. It happened in Philippians. He said, we are citizens of the kingdom of heaven. If you can pull it up on the side, you be citizens of the kingdom of heaven. Paul stayed up plain. That's why we respect the Apostle Paul. If I'm not going against, I can't fellowship with brothers who not on that level. They can be up to the point. You can come in, brother, and then don't want to listen to Paul.
Right? Right, so where now?
Right, when people here say a citizen, the inhabitant of a city or country, right? The association of another and a citizenship, a fellow citizen. Right?
So where?
I also put what I was against there.
Right? Our community, right? Which is what? Our community is what? The nation of Israel.
So it say, right, it said being an alien, that's being a stranger to your commonwealth, which is your heritage.
Woo!
That's correct.
Right? Right.
And strangers from the covenant of promise.
And strangers from the covenant of promise, which goes back to Romans 9. Alright, not only Romans 9, also in Acts. Let me see if I can get it. Let's get out the Baba Pusha.
Yeah, like we read earlier about the Lord is not the author of confusion. And the peace and tranquility to all these things that take the Yahweh Shai, man. So, but a Christian over the ideology which is
Hermeneutics,
You know the scripture that Paul said wants to get a shot with Babylon. Because after a while, they become vain unto you. After a while, they become vain unto you.
Yeah, I get it. There's Acts. I will start at verse Acts 13:27. I consider the promise. Who the covenant and the promises is really for, right? This is Acts here, and I think it's Peter here speaking. Alright? Acts 13, outside of 27, for they that dwell at Jerusalem and their rulers. Now, we'll start at 26. Agreed, men and brethren, children of the stock of Abraham.
What is it?
Children of the stock of Abraham.
You can't put the heathens inside it, they will never stop Abraham.
And whosoever among you feareth Yahweh, to you is the word of this salvation sent.
Now stop. We're going to stop. Because after Romans 9, seed. S-E-C-D.
Man, for they,
seed. Not as of many, but as of
one.
one.
For they that dwell at Jerusalem and their rulers, because they knew him not, nor yet the voices of the prophets, which are read every Sabbath day. Now who, come on, who that show they speaking about? The children of Israel. Because who the prophets was sent on to? Surely wasn't sent on to the other nations. Alright? They have fulfilled them in condemning him. Who is the him? Because we're talking about here, talking about the prophecies concerning what they would do to Yahweh Shai when you come upon the face of the earth. how they would ridicule him and chastise him and persecute him and all these things, right? And though they found no cause of death in him, yet desired they Pilate that he should be slain. Who did that? Who was the culprit of that? Give us Barnabas. Kill the man who said he is the king of the Jews. Right? Let his blood be upon us and upon our children. Who said that?
They was prophesying right true.
Right? And when they had fulfilled all that was written of him, right, they took him down from the tree and laid him in a sepulchre. But Yahweh raised him from the dead, and he was seen many days of them which came up with him from Galilee to Jerusalem, who are his witnesses unto the people. And we declare unto you glad tidings, how that the promise which was made unto the fathers, Yahweh had fulfilled the same unto us, dear children. Alright? In that he had raised up Yahushua again, as it was also written in the second Psalm, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Right? So we see who the promises is for. Alright, but I don't want to think we ought to continue to stick with Cornelius, right?
I just want to bring all this because say concerning who prophets was sent unto. You know, the book of Matthew chapter 10 and 5. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles and into the city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Alright, to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Alright, so continue. What you got what the Corinthians.
Right, 1 Corinthians 12 and verse 1.
Yeah.
He said, now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I will not have you ignorant.
When you go into that word brethren, it speaks about your kinsman, your countryman, come from the same father, same lineage. Right? When you go into that word brethren in the Greek. Alright? So we get the context there, who he's speaking to, right? Go ahead up.
Verse 2. You know that you were Gentiles.
You know that you were Gentiles, which is back to the same Ephesians 2 and 1 word.
Carried away unto these dumb idols.
Carried away unto these dumb idols, word.
Even as you were led.
Even as you were led. Alright? Because somebody gave me Deuteronomy 28:64.
Book of Deuteronomy 28 and 64.
What?
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other.
Even unto the other one.
And there thou shalt serve other gods.
Thou shalt serve what?
Other gods.
And that's why Paul could have made that statement in 1 Corinthians 12 and 1. That he was Gentiles telling them to become idols. Because he was scattered among the heathen, doing the things of the heathen. But give thanks for Yahushua Mashiach. Went all the way to Calvary that he could bring into one fold those that home and abroad and bring them back to the commonwealth of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Come on. There's a particular scripture. Alright. So continue here. Yeah. Read over that part. Read over that part where he's really on full and then we'll continue on with Rashalam, Whole Acts 18 and 1 for Go ahead.
This book of Acts chapter 10, starting from verse 12.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and of wild beasts, and the creeping things, and the fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have not eaten anything that is common or unclean.
Go ahead.
And the voice spake unto him again the second time, What God had cleansed, that call not thou clean, that thou come on. Salakia. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven. Now while Peter doubted in himself what this vision which he had seen should mean, behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry from Simon's house.
So you see, now the Lord started breaking the jump down. Started get cold. Started realizing not the fireball, dead man is not here. You understand? That's what it's meant. It's a work that you have to do. It's about the food.
And so again, the Lord always talk in parables and dark speeches. You know, the old Bible written in that, because those, as we went through scripture earlier, those who supposed to understand will understand, and those who never supposed to understand will never get the understanding. Right? That is why.
Like I wish I said, if you don't drink of my blood and eat of my flesh, you are not part of me.
Stinking cannibal.
You cannot go drink when you need to get the blood of your house.
Drink the blood and eat the flesh.
That's why it's not be a Christian. Christian is carnal, it's of the devil. Don't just break it up the basket, it's of the devil.
And stood before the gate, and called and asked whether Simon, which was surnamed Peter, were not there. While Peter thought on the vision, the Spirit said unto him,
It's like here, hold on, and they're talking that, you know, they have movie about the room, so they have time for it at that time. Pull up midnight mass. And I'll show you, in that movie, you will see the depths of Christian go. Mind fuck that thing. Pull up midnight mass. That movie, you know? It's a vampire, I don't know what the vampire coming in. This vampire, I think you see that? This vampire coming and take the blood with the communion cup in the Catholic Church. And the drink is given by that in the whole mind. Pull it up. That way you can say that. Your mind.
While Peter thought on the vision, the Spirit said unto him, Behold, 3 men seek thee. Arise therefore, and get thee down, and go with them.
Go with them, go ahead.
Doubting nothing, for I have sent them.
Right, don't doubt. I send them, go ahead.
Then Peter went down to the men which were sent unto him from Cornelius, and said, Behold, I am he whom ye seek. What is the cause wherefore ye are come?
Well, you come to look for me for, tell me now. Go ahead.
And they said, Cornelius, the centurion, a just man.
Right, the Cornelius, the centurion, a just man.
Right? When you read this thing here, and you continue reading about it, it really explains itself for us. You understand? But when you reach go deep in it, when you realize it, it's what a work you have to do. You don't have to look for one way, and the big cups of food, it's a work you have to do.
Alright. Let's be out, man. Let's be out. Alright, so let's see how we going to our word centurion. Definitely our word centurion. Get our word centurion. Get our word centurion.
Hey, they give thanks, you know, the movie from the cult of Christianity. Otherwise, you have to take it, you get it,
The commander, the man of centurion, the commander of the century in the ancient Roman army.
Right? He was right? He was a Roman soldier. Right? So, that's where you have to understand. 42. I'll go into our history book here. Go into our history book here, nature knows no color line. Alright? Alright, the chapter that I'm going through is chapter 4, intermixture of so-called whites and Negroes in ancient Rome. Alright? So good. I will start from the top and read. Rome was a melting pot, second in variety only to the United States and Brazil. All the races of the old world met and mingled there. Rome traded with China, So they were probably Chinese too. Droves of here, Britons, Celts, Gauls, Teutons, Slavs, Spaniards, Moors, Persians, Egyptians, Ethiopians, Sudanese, and Negritians were brought to Rome. AD 40 to 102 mentions Thracians, Samaritans, people from the Nile as its sources, Arabs, Sabians, Sicilians, Circumbrians, Germans with twisted hair, and Ethiopians with woolly hair as among the peoples to be seen at the games, which goes back to the Colosseums and what's that, right? Modern historians as Capopino, Frank, Barrow, and Rui mentions Rome racial variety. All the barbaric peoples, all the conquered were represented self-rule. Slaves were so numerous in Rome, says Pliny, that we require the services of a nomenclator even to tell us the names of our servants. The Negroes were brought principally from Greece, alright? If I remember after the Greeks was the Romans, the Romans ended up absolving the Greeks hence to get the Greco-Roman Empire. Alright? The Sudan, which is in East Africa, and Morocco, North Africa, right? Because these are places where Israel started to flee and what have you, because especially with deep into Africa and far north, where the Romans had no territory, had no jurisdiction. All right.
I'm going to the statue in Daniel.
Right.
Talk about the iron and the miry clay. It's together because they were always gathering all people onto them, numerous different nationalities, all to follow the wicked customs. Right?
Bring it up.
From chapter 25, he also, because he transgressed by wine,
Bring it out.
he is a proud man, neither keep it at home,
Neither keep it at home, go ahead.
who enlargeth his desire and health, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied,
Go ahead.
but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
Right? Which is the same thing you would read in Maccabees 1 and 41. First Maccabees 1 and 41. Alright? So continuing. Like the so-called whites and near whites from the east, alright, they were processed first through the great slave market on the island of Delos and later through Corinth and Carthage, which is Carthage's way is in Tunisia, modern day Tunisia, Northern Africa. Now those whites they're talking about, don't get it twisted. Those whites are Israelites, all right, who are descendants of Israelites, fathers were Israelites, all right. Right, Speckled Birds, right, who came out looking.
Let's think about it with Babylon. Let's think back to page 84. They bring now to because I was
let
me get
bring it up.
Yeah, it's a book called the Italians. You understand? You have to get a book called the Italian. That I was understand? And all the people migrate among the people and things like that nowhere. So what you're reading doesn't count. You understand? What you're reading doesn't count.
Yeah, because
Alright, so good. Rome itself became later the greatest slave market of antiquity. AD, BC 63 to AD 21 says that as many as 10,000 slaves a day were sold in Rome alone. So-called whites and Negroes were sold indiscriminately. Slaves were employed not only menial tasks as street cleaners, but as actors, tutors, secretaries, counselors, and physicians among occupations of Negroes, as named by Roman writers, were actors, dancers, acrobats, soldiers. Soldiers.
What this guy was in Acts chapter 10?
A Roman centurion, a soldier. Under him, right? Centurion, you understand? Right? In modern terms, they would be likened unto what? Unto captains and majors. You understand? Right? Soldiers, gladiators, priests of Isis. Alright, priests of Isis. Priests of Isis. Idol worship and what have you. Alright? Letter bearers, charioteers, bath attendants, cooks, waiters, domestic, divers, boot blacks, and the like, right? Right? So you see there the different roles, all right? And it was a melting pot of different nations, all right? So we're showing you that Cornelius, because I will prove it again in this book here when he done there. Cornelius, his father had to been, maybe been a so-called Negro, but his mother could have been an Edomite. All right, because Israel, God gave him a First Chronicles 9:1, and you get from him. No, man, I get from Numbers 1 and 18 now. Bring it out from another. First Chronicles 9:1. Go ahead.
And it reads, all Israel were reckoned by genealogy.
By what?
By genealogy.
The genealogy goes through what your lineage. Your lineage comes through what your forefather. Go ahead.
And behold, they were written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah, who were carried away to Babylon for their transgression.
All right. So all it is. Yeah.
Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers.
By the what?
By the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward, by their whole.
Right? So, going back to Cornelius, his father had to be an Israelite in order for him to be a devout man. In order for him to fear God. In order for him to fear the Most High God. Alright, but the thing is, he didn't come out looking. He didn't come out looking like a so-called Negro. Alright? Not all Israel. That goes to them. So when you bring out the scripture for him, I heard it will be like a speckled bird. So you understand what he's trying to say?
Because Jeremiah chapter 12 and 9, my heritage is unto me as a speckled bird.
As a what?
As a speckled bird.
When you understand what a speckled bird as a bird of color. You understand? Yeah. When she spread out the different colors she carried, and then put the Lord out. That is why. Let's cut them and spirit out. That is why Jacob made a coat for Joseph. And the coat of what? Of many colors. That the Israelites will be scattered among the nation, and when God get them, resurrect them, they're going to come looking like the nations. That is how it looks like. You never thought about that? That coat when Joseph get Jacob so far away, they can talk about many colors.
That was spiritual too.
Yeah,
that was spiritual.
That's spiritual. Joseph type in Israel and that Israel is the soul among the heathen.
The birds round about against her come he assembled all the beasts of the field, come to devour.
Right, come to devour, right? Yeah, go ahead.
This is the book from Babylon to Timbuktu, page 83. The last paragraph, it says the army of Antiochus marched into Palestine to support Menelaus, the leader of the pro-Syrian party. Right? As a result, many Jews were killed. Right? Others escaped to the hills and to Egypt, which is what? Scattering. Right? Only those Jews that supported Antiochus' policy remained in Jerusalem. Right? And this just goes into how he was made to eat swine's flesh and bring the Sabbath day. Right? Yeah, that first one. What was right? That is the first, second half, 6 and 6. Let's put this portion here. Say, right. It says because of religious persecution, even the legitimate high priest Onias returned, and many other Jews fled into African countries such as Egypt, Ethiopia, Libya, and so on and so forth. Right? Jumping down a paragraph, it says in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem because 65 BC, 65 years before the birth of Yahweh Shai. Right? Even from then, Rome was in the lands there, and they were doing what? They were slaving too. Right? But even though some of our people and all had our people as servants and slaves. So the Romans would have been taking slaves from all that time. Right? And taking them, some of them back to Rome. Right? To be soldiers. I say like how Cornelius was a soldier, to be handsmade, to be them cobblers, shoe cobblers, right? To be ship hands, all them different things. You're always taking up people that period of almost 100 years, right? So from the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem in 70 AD. So you see different distance in time. A significant amount of time passed there, right? Over 100 years. 145 years. 145 years exactly, right? General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the rescue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it was estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, and they fled for fleeing Roman persecution and slavery. Right? The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. So what do you think they were using them slaves for? A lot of them slaves became soldiers, right? To fight for the Roman army.
You hear that,
right?
You can't go against that.
You can't.
Filled with prophecy.
Over 1 million, and it's much more than that. This is much more than that. To Africa, some fled in different parts of Asia Minor and those things to avoid the Roman persecution.
So and with that now, there's where the intermingling start to come about. When sheikhs have to go with these women, all right, and go with these women, and these women bear children for them. But they would not, a lot of them wouldn't come out looking like the forefather, looking like the father. Alright? But the thing is that does not negate the fact that they are Israelites. Alright? Because why? Israel is counted by the seed. Alright? That's sperm line. Alright? Not all Israel will get looking. Give Revelation 7 and 9. And then you will go back to the Acts, the scripture we have from in Acts, right?
Yeah.
Or almost scripture.
Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9.
Look, you must see something. Yeah, what's straight to the point? What's straight to the point? What's that? Matter of fact, you don't read that. I want you to rush and read it. 3 of blue letter.
You got that?
Yeah. You don't read that. Go read it in the
No,
Nah, but wrong card. Go to the Apocrypha. Oh gosh, go to the Apocrypha. You must see something here. Go read it, yeah, Yahshua. That's fine. But let's find something first in the Apocrypha. when you done there, you
I
will
look for the life first. I just like, you know, together. If you want to tell them, just go to the face of scriptures. That will get spirit. You don't want to hear that.
nah, but so,
We get into the goodness and decide to stay with
Come here, Ashok.
Alright, this is Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9.
So we started from 9 because when they go up, we don't know it. Speak about the 12,000 from every tribe, right? We don't have to go through that, right? We go into that point there because Christians is like to come to that, right?
Right.
Go ahead, read.
Revelation 7 and 9.
Go ahead.
After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude.
Right? A great multitude of people. So how you explaining that now? Eh? Everybody, a great multitude. Yeah. Yes, but we ain't saying no. Yes. Yes, we're not saying all are correct. You all are actually correct. You all are not lying there. But let me see what's going on. Read.
And
Study to show thyself approved.
and after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number,
Which no man could number. Go ahead.
of all nations.
Of all nations. Why all nations? Somebody get from that? Yeah, get Acts 2:5, right? And then somebody get from and this gospel shall be preached through all the nations, right? For a witness, right? And somebody get from not that yet. Luke, get from Luke 20:21 on down and when we are trying to fleet in the mountains now. Right? So give me the one who asks for this gospel should be preached to all the nations.
Book of Matthew chapter 24 and 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come.
Right? And this gospel shall be preached to all the nations, right? Why? Give me the look now.
What is the witness? Witness is that they're going to see the Israelites rising up. You understand? And as we get to rise up, they don't know what time it is. They know their place. They know what is coming for them. They're moving on destruction.
You get it? You get it? If it's not Luke 21, if it's not Luke 20, 21, 21, 20.
In 21 and verse 20, and when he shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Jerusalem flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein too. For these be the days of vengeance. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
Which is the prophecies and the curses and what have you. Go ahead.
But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that are not yet suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
Go ahead.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword,
Go ahead.
and shall be led away captive.
And shall what?
Shall be led away captive.
And shall what?
Shall be led away captive.
Go ahead.
Into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
So we shall be led into all these nations, right? That's why this gospel had to be preached into all the nations. Alright, why did you to hold? What did you to hold, nigga?
Just reading now.
Yeah, Acts 2:5, right?
What I want to say, it's the same thing, you're correct, you're on point. Right? But this is what they're talking about now, the same history.
Oh, right, yeah.
To Egypt,
yeah.
which Africa.
Yeah, right? Which represent Africa, alright? Remember the Acts 2:5,
Acts
nigga?
1:5, that they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews both man, out of every nation,
Out of every nation.
under heaven.
Right? And when they go down, they will give you a list. And Rome was one in that list there. It says what? Strangers of Rome. Who is those strangers of Rome? Alright?
You know, gentlemen, he's a stranger of Rome.
Right? So go back to our one in the
Revelation 7,
yeah.
continue, right?
Yeah.
Revelation 7 and 9, let me read it over. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations, and kindreds.
And now go into that word kindreds for me. Go into that word kindreds for me.
Alright, the Strong's G5443, file it. Which means a tribe.
Which means a what?
A tribe.
What?
A nation.
A what?
A nation.
What?
Right? In the New Testament, of the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob. He's getting excited there. I'm just on your camera, go ahead.
Well,
Alright, you know? Yeah, and kindreds and people.
and what?
And people and tongues stood before the throne, right? And before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Right? And you know that tongues was the Lord said, speaking a strange tongue.
Right? So now, because that same vision that John the Revelator is getting, come with him now.
See book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 2 and verse 42.
Bring it out.
I Ezra saw upon the Mount Zion a great people.
A what?
A great people.
Go ahead.
Whom I could not number. And they all praised Yahweh with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest.
Taller than all the rest. Well.
And upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted.
And was more exalted. Well.
Which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These are they that have put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of Yahweh.
And confessed the name of Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai, which goes all the way back to Revelation 7 and 9. Alright?